On the morning of September 11, 2001, four airliners were hijacked by members of the Al-Qaeda who claimed to carry out suicide attacks against important targets in the United States. Of the four planes, one struck the Pentagon, one crashed in a field in Pennsylvania, and the two remaining planes were flown into the Twin Towers in New York City. This is a day that no American who is old enough to remember will ever forget. The tragedy that happened on this day is one that shocked the nation and left Americans in a rapid fury and in pain for those who were lost. But now that it's over, there's a new issue that arose. Claiming almost 3,000 lives, this event gave birth to a war and brought about everyday sociological changes for Americans and Muslim Americans, not only in the United States, but in Canada as well. Since the attacks on the World Trade Center, Muslims residing in the United States have experienced violations of economic and political liberties, as well as ongoing social discrimination, ecological discrimination, and institutional discrimination. Because of the World Trade Center attacks, the U.S. government cracked down on immigration policy and national security. Laws and acts were passed with hardly any debate. In October 2001, the U.S. Patriot Act was signed into law with almost no congressional debate. The Patriot Act allowed the Attorney General to detain non-citizens suspected of terrorism without a warrant and authorized new surveillance guidelines for U.S. law enforcement agencies. Additionally, in July 2003, the Clear Law Enforcement for Criminal Alien Removal Act was passed to give local law enforcement the power to enforce federal immigration laws. Nearly a year after the events of 9/11, the Attorney General announced the introduction of the National Security Exit Entry Registration System. This special registration program applied to men ages 16 to 45 who were predominantly from Arab and Muslim countries residing in the United States on temporary visas. The men were required to report to INS offices for multi-phase registration that included fingerprinting, photographing, and questioning. The program ended up failing in the long run, but while this program is no longer active, the U.S. Patriot Act and the Clear Act have both been reauthorized and are used by law enforcement. More on the social discrimination aspect. Attitudes towards Muslim Americans have been largely understudied in the psychological field. Trying to adjust to the aftermath of September 11th, Muslim Americans faced a roaring upsurge in negative stereotypical hate crimes expressed by the larger society more than any other immigrant group. Since then, increased racial and religious animosity has left Arabs, Pakistanis, Muslims, and those who have any stereotyped physical resemblance to members of these groups were left fearful of potential hatred and hostility from people of other cultures. Following September 11, 2001, the FBI reported a 1,700% increase of hate crimes against Muslim Americans between 2000 and 2001. Even in the following years, discrimination didn't fizzle out. The FBI reported receiving about 1,900 complaints of abuse and physical violence, increased by 52% between 2003 and 2004. The Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice reports that allegations of abuse included telephone, internet, face-to-face threats, minor assaults, vandalism, shootings, and bombing of homes, businesses, and places of worship. These hate crimes were not only surging in the United States, but Canadian Muslim citizens were also experiencing discrimination. The Canadian Islamic Congress figures indicated that 1,600% increase in hate crimes against Muslim individuals or Islamic places from September 2001 to September 2002. Attacks against places of Muslim worships which did not exist before increased also sharply after September 11th. According to the CAIRCAN, 12 attacks occurred across Canada from September 11th to November 15, 2001. And according to testimonies of 181 women living in various Canadian cities, at least one attack took place against a place of worship in each Canadian city between September 2001 and in June 2002, and 16 of those were bomb attacks. The ramifications of the attacks of September 11, 2001 are felt throughout the world, and there's no excuse. Certain things have been done to stop these hate crimes, but unfortunately, it's not an issue that gets a lot of attention. Islamic organizations have begun to combat these issues by reaching outside of their community while still maintaining dialogue with their faith. It falls now on the leadership of the community to spread real knowledge about Islam. Islamic organizations can provide an opportunity for education on Islam and invite outside participants to Islamic conventions and meetings to develop better relations with the external community. All of my information that I used in this speech was from various articles that were given to me from my professor. Those articles included American Muslim Minorities, The New Human Rights Struggle by Ashley Moore, Attitudes Toward Muslim Americans Post 9/11, and Are Muslims Discriminated Against in Canada. These articles were very interesting to read and opened my eyes about how discrimination can have a major effect on different people. Thank you.